Good afternoon and welcome to Coldwater Homestead. This is part two of today's video. We started to talk about choosing a homestead or looking at your property as a homestead and putting together a plan for what you're looking to do, how you can become more self-sufficient and live a lifestyle that's not so dependent on everything that's around us. Uh, Property size, it depends on what you want to be raising, how you're going to raise things, whether you're going to raise just sheep and goats, which you don't need as much property necessarily for, comparatively to raising beef or dairy cows. You need a lot more property for that because you're going to have pasture and grazing, or a lot more of it. So that's something to keep in mind as you start to approach what you're looking for, if you're looking, or if you already have. The next step is going to be, how do you lay it out? Your plan of action, where your animal's going to be, looking at your terrain, looking at where your building structures are going to be for housing your animals, water, power. You're going to be off grid with the animals, so you're going to want to wire them into a power source that's already pre-existing. Where's your water coming from? You're going to have to haul it from the house or run hoses. In my environment up here in Vermont, cold weather, hoses are a challenge to say the least. We've come up with some solutions that make our life a little easier for sure with our hoses. But making the decision on what you're going to raise, where you're going to place it, these are important choices to make. Also, what you're looking for. Are you looking for a dairy aspect where you're milking goats or cows? Are you looking for meat where we raise our sheep primarily for wool and meat? So what are you looking to? Why? There's got to be a purpose to what you're doing with the animals and what your end goals are. And I think it's very important to start to plan all that before you start taking in animals. It's very easy to find animals that people are giving away pretty darn cheap or just giving away. And having a plan and an infrastructure already built will make your life a whole lot easier. Keeping in goats compared to keeping in cows, totally different. Goats like to escape. They are masters of finding ways through fences. That's from years of experience. Should have started with a better infrastructure personally. But we've got most of that under control now. What are you looking for gardens? That's another aspect you want to look at. How big of a garden do you need? What size family are you trying to feed? Are you trying to feed just one or two people, or are you trying to feed a family of 4 or 5 or 6? Because you need different size gardens for that. Always would recommend plant what you eat. It makes no sense if you don't eat okra, don't plant okra, because what's the point of that? Some of the first things you want to do after you start to lay out a plan and an establishment and what your layout of the property is going to be is, it's never too early to plant trees. Trees are critical. If you want fruit trees, they take time. We've been here, I said in my introduction video, we've been on this property for over 30 years. And we finally have established fruit trees, but it took years to do that. And I continue to plant. I've planted trees in the last 2 years that I know generations from now will start to produce fruit, and we'll be able to harvest off of, or my future will be able to harvest off of. I also am very much into edible landscaping. I don't plant a lot that I can't use in one way or another, whether it is harvesting the fruits and the plant itself for consumption, or it's looking at a medicinal aspect. We do a lot with herbology and trying to have a healthier lifestyle just in general. And it doesn't mean it can't look pretty. A lot of medicinal plants and herbs are very beautiful and produce gorgeous flowers, and you can plant your gardens according to how you want it to look and how you want it to present itself. It can be both functional um, and practical. Um, Water sources again, with that, you want to make sure that you are looking at how you're going to water, care for. Do you have a stream on the property? Do you have a pond on the property? Do you want to utilize that water? Do you want to put a rain catchment system on your house, for instance, or next to your barn where you're watering your animals, so that you don't have to necessarily worry so much about having to pump water? One of the things that we've done, and I'll go into this deeper in other videos, but we put in a backup solar system for specifically to be able to run our wells when the grid fails us. And up here in Vermont, out where we live, we lose power on a regular basis out here. So when you have to haul water out of a pond or a river, and you're looking at watering your animals or your gardens, and you're literally looking at 400, 500, 600 gallons of water that you could go through in a day. Having a backup and a plan for how you're going to maintain watering through the different seasons, including winter, very important. Very important to give a lot of concern and thought to. And realize that every homestead is going to be different. What I do is definitely going to be different than what you do. We've taken a long time to develop to where we have gotten to, and it's still not perfect. We're still developing. Every year brings on new challenges. Every year brings on new ideas, where you step back and you look at things and you go, if I had just done it this way, I could be saving myself so much time or so much energy. And those are time when it comes to gardening, homesteading, caring for animals. It's amazing how much time everything takes, and how fast your time can go by, and your day is gone, and you're just going to bed and waking up and doing it all over again. I spent many years with my wife and my parents doing just that, where you are up at the crack of dawn, going to bed 10, 11 o'clock at night, just to wake back up at 4 in the morning to go back out and start milking by 5:30. In case you didn't see the first video that I put out this morning, it kind of gives you a background of our family and what we've done. And we had a full goat dairy. We've also done some other animals that are mentioned in there. But I guess what I'm trying to get at is to take the time and plan out what you're looking to do. I know for us this year, I do a lot of preserving, a lot of canning. We're looking at where are we short and what our supplies are, what we're looking to have on hand through the winters, and building up a stockpile of some of this stuff so that we have it for years to come. So the vegetables and the things that I'm planting this year probably are going to be considerably different than what I focused on last year. Just know that I'd love to see some comments, because I'd love to have some more ideas of what people are thinking, what they'd like to hear. We have lots of things that we've talked about and have ideas on what we're going to put out there. There'll be videos of we're actually putting together a community kitchen area where we could potentially barter with people so that they could come in and preserve their fruits and vegetables and their harvest for the season without necessarily having to invest in the high-end expensive canning equipment that not everybody can afford. So that's one of our projects, and there'll be videos coming out showing the construction of it. We're doing a full renovation of an area, of a kitchen area, specifically, so we'll be able to do this. But yeah, like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and I look forward to looking at the comments and seeing what everybody has to say. And I'll hopefully talk to you guys all tomorrow. Have a good night.